Welcome to another episode of SS Vision Book Talk. The father of our nation, Mahatma Gandhi, once quoted, "The British government in India constitutes a struggle between modern civilization, which is a kingdom of Satan, and the ancient one, which is a kingdom of God." In today's episode, I will be talking about the book An Era of Darkness, The British Empire in India. This book is written by Dr. Shashi Tharoor, the former Under Secretary General of the United Nations and who has been serving as a Lok Sabha MP from Thiruvananthapuram. He was prompted to write this book shortly after his speech at the Oxford Union debate went viral, both in Britain and in India. An Era of Darkness is an account of history which reminds us Indians of the treasures that were looted from us, the atrocities that were imposed upon us, and the self-respect that was stripped off from us, all by the treacherous hands of the British. India was a glittering jewel of the medieval world. To show you how India was faring when the British had arrived on its shores, let me quote J.T. Sunderland's succinct description about India. He said, and I quote, "Nearly every kind of manufacture or product known to the civilized world, nearly every kind of creation of man's brain and hand, had long been produced in India." India was a far greater industrial and manufacturing nation than any in Europe or any other in Asia. Her textile goods were famous over the civilized world. So were her exquisite jewelry and her precious stones cut in every lovely form. She had great architecture, she had great engineering works, she had great businessmen and great bankers. Not only was she the greatest shipbuilding nation, but she had great commerce, trade by land and sea, which extended to all non-civilized countries. Such was the India which the British found when they came. India's share of the world economy was 27% in 1700. After 2 centuries, when the British left, it was dwindled to just over 3%. In his book, Dr. Tharoor explains at length the treacherous acts of the British to meet their own ends. The book consists of 8 chapters. Although reconstruction of the past prosperity and exuberance of India, it is not written in a chronological order. The various chapters of this book is based on different yet interwoven matters. The writer points out the gradual deindustrialization of India by the British in the form of imposition of hefty taxes, depredations and destruction of various industries. In the medieval era, Great Britain was only a fledgling in terms of industry and economy. The deindustrialization of India and the trillions of dollars looted from India acted as fillip for the Industrial Revolution in Britain. To quote the famous American historian Will Durant, "This was Britain's conscious and deliberate bleeding of India." Another fracture, says Dr. Tharoor, which India had to suffer under the British rule, was a disruption of communal harmony. Pre-colonial India was a land where the followers of different religions and communities embraced each other. Even some communities endorsed intermarriages with each other. The Mughal dynasty was marked by the peaceful coexistence of both Hindu and Muslim communities. The period was bereft of religious tussle. But the divide and rule policy of the British Raj pitted the followers of different religions against each other. Another mistake by the British was a mismanagement of the political and economic machinery and the forceful exaction of food grains due to which one of the greatest man-made horrors, the Great Bengal Famine of 1943, nicknamed the Forgotten Holocaust, had taken place. An estimated 3 million people died of starvation during the famine. The partition of land into India and Pakistan across irregular borders is another factor which Dr. Tharoor accuses the British of. An estimated 2 million people died as a result of the partition, and millions of others have been internally displaced. 7 decades later, the wounds of partition is still festering. The book holds criticisms about the parliamentary democracy which Indians adopted from the British. He argues that a parliamentary democracy would be apt for governing a relatively small country, but for a particularly large country like India, parliamentary democracy is an erroneous choice. As a culmination, Dr. Tharoor has also discussed the residual problems of colonialism. The 2 centuries of British rule in India was marred by atrocities, iniquities, and contempt towards Indians by the British. The pernicious ripple effect of these facts can still be found today in India in the field of politics, communalism, and development. In his speech, Dr. Tharoor says that no amount of economic compensation to India can expiate what was truly lost. But a sincere apology from the British would act as a healing touch to the colonial wounds. All things considered, an era of darkness gives us a thorough and detailed analysis of the forgotten yet unforgiving past of India. As India celebrates its 75th year of independence, what each of us as Indians should be proud about is the fact that our nation has braved all sorts of communal tensions and economic insecurities after the British had left. Today, India stands as a bulwark of democracy and secularism. As the foreigners predicted, India never disintegrated into a group of warring states. India never witnessed a military coup, and India never stooped towards an economic low. Today, India still stays strong as the largest democracy.